Hi, I'm Christina Carter, and today on TheSocialPet.net, we're going to do pet stories with our special guest. And correct me if I say it improperly, but Fabio Andreozzi.
Yeah, it's close enough. It's good enough, yeah.
Okay. We Americans butcher everything. It's okay. So,
Yeah.
Today we're going to share a few pet stories with our friend Fabio, and he is a lifelong dog person, and we're going to hear from him just what that relationship has meant over the years and what it means today. So tell us a little bit about how the dogs ended up in your as part of your life, Fabio.
Well, as far as I can remember, I've always had dogs ever since I was a small kid living with my parents. The first dog actually that I remember was a Bobtail, and I was really young. I mean, I think I was 7 or 8. So I got that's the my biggest memory, and and as I think it happens with all the kids. I had the idea, that the Bobtail was a huge breed. I mean, it was massive. It was just because I was little. So I remember seeing the Bobtail, when I was 15, 16. I said, oh, that's not a big dog at all. I mean, I remember it was an elephant. So yeah, but that was my first dog. And after that, while I was living with my parents, we always had dogs, not as big as Bobtails. They were always, mixed dogs, but small to little dogs and stuff like that. Even if we live in the country.
And a Bobtail, I'm going to interrupt you for a second, but a Bobtail for us here in the U.S., we usually call them Old English sheepdogs, right?
Yeah.
Is that about what it is? Okay.
Yeah. It's the white and black dog that you cannot really figure out where is the head and the tail. It's that kind of dog. So
they're fluffy.
Yeah, they're really fluffy. Yeah, they're fluffy when they're clean, but
yeah, I bet not so fluffy when they're not.
No. Then when I got married, now my wife, she has always had dogs too, but she had always had German Shepherds. So because when we got married, we have quite a large house with a big garden outside. We say, okay, we gotta get a dog, and we had a breeder which used to live not far from where I live now, and he was into German Shepherds. So well, to make it short, we went there and said, okay, we're gonna get a German Shepherd. So we got one beautiful female. Because when we had one dog, now we have two. We have almost have 2 dogs, but if you have one, it's always a female. And so we had this first dog. Her name was Maya, and she was a beautiful dog. Unfortunately, she passed away while we were on vacation. She just ran out of the gate. Yeah, she probably got stuck by a car. I don't know. We were in Italy at the time. So that was, big deal. But just to give you a rough idea, the breeder saw the dog every morning because it was literally passing in front of our house to go to the kennel. So we went to him and say, no, we got to have another dog because Maya unfortunately died, this and that. And then something interesting happened because the breeder said, you know what, I've seen how you keep your dogs. I will give you this dog. And he gave us a 6-month-old female, beautiful female. Her name was Daisy, and she was, I think, the best looking dog I've ever had. And that dog, he said, the breeder, I was keeping that female, to breed. Mm-hmm. But I will give it to you because I've seen how you treat your dogs. I will give it to you for free. And the pact was, that when she was about, 2 years old, we will bring back to the breeder, have a litter, and then the dog was ours. And we also have to keep one of the dogs.
Okay.
So, yeah. So
help him keep his breeding line going, basically.
Yeah. And that was huge because and again that was one of the female that he was always looking for. Mm-hmm. So we had Daisy, and and she had 2 litters. From the first one, we took one male, and his name was Jerry Lee, actually. So yeah. Then we.
I know where that came from.
Yeah. I mean, how can you not name a German Shepherd Jerry Lee?
I don't know.
The movie is so stupid, but the dog is brilliant. So screw it. That's Jerry.
Yep.
And it was quite mental, so yeah. So then we had Daisy passed away. We took another female. That was Maya. Sorry, the first one I said was Maya, but the first one name was Ira, like IRA. And so that female was Maya. We moved in another part of Italy because of my job. And again, just to tell you how much the dogs were part of our life, I was working with a big company in quite a big position. So basically they were paying for the house and all the stuff, and I put in the contract that they had to find us a house with a garden, because it was me, my wife. At the time there were 2 kids, very small one was I think 1 year old, and the other one was 3, and 2 dogs. So that was our family, and they have to provide for that. So we moved the dogs, then I came back here, and well, basically now we are with Betsy and Max. And Betsy and Max are yet again the mother and son. And yeah, that's it. Now we have Betsy and Max. Betsy has had 2 litters. All our females except Ira, they've always had litters, and they've always had the dogs at my house. We had a place outside in the garden, that we set it up, with the red lamp, we close it down. So they always had their dogs there, and they always, grew the dogs there. So yeah.
That's got to be a fun experience, seeing all the puppies come and be born and raising them. Probably not so much the barking phase, but
yeah. I mean, they don't bark a lot. I mean, when they're really young, I'm talking about 2-3 months. They're not really that noisy.
Yeah.
They start barking a little bit later, and then it's great. They destroy everything. We just move them out in the garden, just to get some air, and then we move them back in that room that we set up for them. So they weren't roaming every time. We just at the door we just said leave the female get in and out to breastfeed them, and then after that she couldn't be bothered. So yeah. But it's brilliant. It's actually it's a wonderful experience. Actually seeing the dogs being born, it's really good. So.
I know that was a good experience for us too when we had our foster dog and she had her litter. Mm-hmm. So you said Ira was your first shepherd.
Yes.
Okay. And so how would you characterize the relationship kind of that you've had?
As you know, they all had their character. They're all different. The one were a little bit more possessive. The other ones they didn't care too much. I think one of the good things is that having 2 dogs, they don't get too much stressed out when you go outside, stuff like that, because they keep company to each other. So that was one thing. We always said all our dogs, besides the fact that they're different characters, they've always been quite balanced dogs, because of that. We have never trained our dogs, as guard dogs, or we didn't even train them, for the usual treat. I mean, there was some which were better at doing that, but for example, Max, he will go after the stick. He will never bring you back the stick ever. No, he couldn't be bothered by that. I mean, that's okay. I mean, you'll find another stick. Yeah. So, but we're not stressing the dogs because of that. There are some things that we train them to, but those are basically survival things. Like, for example, we have my house has got 2 gates. One, it's on a private property, there are fields, so that's not a big deal. But the other one has got an access directly on the road.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a very busy road. So one thing that we did with all the dogs, and we started with the first one, we said, okay, that's a good training way. So I basically open the gate, I go outside, I call the dog, and the dog comes, and the moment he puts his paws outside the gate, I've got like a newspaper,
Mm-hmm.
and I bash him with the newspaper. It doesn't hurt him at all, but the
Mm-hmm.
noise scares him, so he's puzzled, and he gets back, and then I call him again, and he comes, and I bash him. So up until the point, and even if I call him, he sits on the gate and he barks at me. He says, "Come on, really?" That's the. So those were only the basic things, and of course, you call them, they come back and stuff like that, but nothing too specialized or stuff like that. We like our dogs a little bit raw.
And you said that you always have more than one. How do you get a new one blended into the existing pack so you have someone else come in? How does that work?
Okay, our dogs have always been mother and son, so that's pretty easy. But we had some guests downstairs. We got another apartment that we usually rent, and we had a couple of guests which had dogs, and so I also have. There is my brother. He has an Australian Shepherd, and sometimes he comes in with the dog, so they got to get acquainted. And the way I introduce a new dog to my pack is, I call the dog in. I'm always, the first time I'm always in between the dog and my dogs, and I call them constantly, because they're excited. They want to meet the guy, but the guy is not in his territory, so he's a little bit scared. Yeah. So I'm usually behind the dogs, and I constantly call them, and I go down to their level, and I start scratching both of the dogs, and then I just leave them do their things. I keep an eye on them, because if they might get a little bit overexcited, but just keep an eye on them, and I call them back. I never had fights, doing like that. And again, one of the dogs which came into the pack was a pit bull, and another one is an Australian Shepherd, and they're pretty hectic dogs. They're really active. So it wasn't easy, but once they understand they're part of the pack, if I pet them, I give them my smell, they understand, okay, that's pretty good. So there are no big problems. And funnily enough, that's about the same thing that I did when my kids were born, because it's exactly the same thing,
Kids and dogs, yep, pretty close.
The first thing I did, when my wife came back from the hospital literally with the baby, I opened the door of my house, because they don't get in unless I call them, and I broke the kid at their level and let them sniff the dog, the baby. They recognize the scent and say, okay, that's really young. They lick him a little bit, and that's it.
Have you had any issues with integration at all? I know you said that sometimes someone will get a little overexcited. Is it with family or other dogs?
The main problem is that, again, and I've noticed that, I know that for a fact, if you have 2 dogs, they're way more balanced. So their attitude toward a new dog is more predictable, because they really act like a pack, like dogs. The main problem, you have with the other dogs. Yeah. They're mostly single ones. They have no idea how to behave with other dogs. So they make mistakes, and my dogs correct them, because one is a big male, the other one, she's a female, she's been a mother, so she knows how to correct the puppies, so they correct him, and there might be some biting, some stuff like that, but it's never too vicious. If it has happened a couple of times with the pit bull, that she kind of attacked my dog, mostly the male, but he's a big guy. He just trashed her down. So no big deal. I mean, you make a couple of screams, they stop them, and you go there and you eat everybody. You just have to dive in, So yeah.
It's equal opportunity. Game on. If that has to happen, it's all me, and I'm a hurricane when I go in there.
I mean, they have to know that this is their territory. If I'm not here, as you know, with the pack, another thing that's really important is to establish hierarchies. So in our family there is a precise hierarchy. I mean, and this is also one of the reasons why if you have only one dog, it's always a female, because the female, unless she is mental, she will always find an alpha in the family, and usually the alpha is a male. So I'm quite okay with the fact that even if you have a really active and possessive female, she will recognize me as the alpha dog, So, but the hierarchy is me, my wife, and the kids and the dogs. They're more or less on the same level. For them, I'm talking about.
Yeah.
The way they see the pack, this is the way they see the pack.
And as long as the pack leader isn't mental, as you so nicely put it, they will look for that pack leader. You've had shepherds. There's an Australian shepherd. Is that your son's dog, you said?
It's my brother's dog, but he's been there a lot. So I have dealt with that pit bull. I also had a Doberman, but that was with my parents, so it was an only dog. A beautiful, beautiful female also. I've always loved big dogs, large breeds.
Well, what do you notice between the different breeds? I'm sorry, I interrupted you.
Really, I don't know. If I have to be...
Am I putting you on the spot?
No. I'm trying to think. I've never. I mean, I cannot say that I've seen difference between the breeds. I've always found difference between the dogs. Okay. The Australian Shepherd, well, the Australian Shepherd, for example, and I know two of them, so I think it's pretty common. They're really, really, really active. They run all the time. They when they play with you, they run at you. You can see that they are used to hurt people, to hurt stuff. So they're really, whatever they do, it's a level of energy which is incredible. The pit bull, I don't know. I mean, she was a cute dog, but my personal opinion, I would never have a pit bull because I think she was pretty dumb. I don't know if it was the dog or the breed, but she wasn't really too reactive, to stimuli. She was. Well, but I think that has a lot to do with the guy which owned the dog. But she was pretty monomaniacal, I don't know if you can say that. They always, one thing in their mind, and it's one thing, and then they change one, it's one thing. They're not really wide, and you couldn't say they're really brilliant, in that sense.
Yeah. Tunnel vision almost. They see one thing, Yeah.
In a way, I remember the Doberman was like that, but not that extreme. She, I don't know. She was really smart, so that probably had to do with that. But she was a really calm dog. She knew the good thing about being a big dog. In my experience, is that they don't have to be that aggressive all the time. They have a self-consciousness of what they can do, of their size. So
they're confident.
They're confident, right?
Yeah. So, they know that they're big and bad, and they don't really have to prove it very much.
Yeah. No, exactly. Yeah. That's true. And that's funny. That there is a. Sorry to interrupt you, but there is a nice story about that. That it happened once, and one of my kids, I think it was about 1 year old, and so my wife just let the kid outside in the garden in the trolley. Is it how do you call it, the stroller? Okay. And she just went out to get some stuff. There is a shop nearby, and she was waiting for a kid to have. She's a math teacher, and she also make private lessons. So I'll try to make it short. This kid, comes in. He rings the bell, but it rings the wrong bell. So the guy downstairs opens the gate, and at the time it was an electric gate. So the guy comes in, and that's the situation. The kid comes in. He has been to this house, more than once, but he's not part of the family. He comes in, and he finds in front of him there is the stroller with the kid, and at the time I think it was Daisy, that she was sitting by the stroller, sitting. She was doing nothing at all, and she watched the kid. So the kid stops because my wife wasn't coming; she was outside. The gate closes. So now this kid he has a closed gate at the back, the stroller, and the dog, which is doing nothing at all. He's just watching. He's not moving. Yeah. Nobody's moving. After a couple of minutes, my wife comes in, and she just the moment my wife comes in, Daisy, she just stands up and she goes away.
It's too cool how dogs can read situations and know what's okay and what's not, and what's normal and what's not, and she wasn't intimidating that kid. She was just going like, wait a minute, I'm gonna watch you because this isn't normal. Yeah.
And there is the kid here. So we have the puppy of the pack, So.
No, I know they are very protective. I know that I have a Belgian Tervuren, and he gets protective of his family as well. So he's teaching the border collie, which is great, to bark at everybody and everything. Isn't that wonderful?
Yeah.
Now you said several dogs over the years, and it obviously, if we have pets, we're gonna lose them at some point. Do you have any advice for those of us who might struggle with saying goodbye?
I've had in total, I think, in this house we've had 65 dogs.
Oh my!
And I'm including all the litters.
Yeah.
Because we've had massive litters. I mean, massive. Like
it's a German Shepherd.
yeah, but I'm talking about 12 dogs.
Yeah.
11, 9, 7. 7 is normal, but 12 and they were all okay. It's big. So basically, we had two kinds of moments where we have to say goodbye to the dogs. We have the ones where we had the litter and we had to give it, back to the breeder, because we did it the first time, and then we did it with all the other dogs, and that's quite bad, because you have 10 puppies, and then you got to take 9 puppies, put it in the car, and take it there, and they're not there anymore. There's only one. So that's hard, but it's not the hardest thing. The hardest thing is when they die. So and again, you got the two things which can happen to you, and it happened to us. It's when an old dog passes away, and that's quite bad. That's really bad. All my dogs are buried. I've got a field, just outside my house. They're all there. I know exactly where they are. They're all there, and that's pretty bad. The other thing which is quite bad is, and unfortunately it happened to us, we had a litter. Betsy, actually, she had 11 puppies, and there were 12, but one was born dead. So there were 11 puppies, beautiful puppies, and after 2 or 3 days, they started dying. They got the vet came. She's a brilliant girl, so she came all of a sudden. She checked the dog and all the stuff, and she said that they had like an internal infection and stuff like that. And when that that little, I'm talking days, there is really nothing you can do. So we had that experience that basically in 7 days we went from 11 puppies to 2.
No.
So basically every day I woke up and I went there and I found 1 or 2 dead puppies, and that's kind of bad.
Yeah.
I remember at the end of the week I was devastated. I mean, my wife, she didn't even want to go there. She said, you go there, see if there's someone dead, you bring it away, because I can't deal with that anymore. And I remember at the end of the week I was pretty devastated. Even because there were times, especially at the end, where Betsy, she didn't want to give me the dead dogs. She tried to lick them. So I mean, it was quite hard. So yeah.
So how did you cope with that? How did you?
If it's an old dog which dies, the things that we've done every time is go and get another one. Yeah.
I can't be without one either, so I hear you.
But like tomorrow, okay?
Yeah.
And for the puppies, there is really nothing you can do. I mean, you just wrap them in a t-shirt, you dig a hole and you bury them. There is literally nothing you can do. Yeah. But it's really painful. It is really painful.
I'm sorry you had to go through that. That is no fun.
No, it wasn't fun. It was unfortunate, but it's part of the. It's a risk that you have when you have litters. We've always, as told you, we always have male and female, and we never had our dogs spaded or nurtured. I can't remember the difference.
Spay is for the female and neuter is for the male.
Yeah. So they were whole. Everyone but Betsy. Betsy now, she's the only one which has been spayed. But the problem with Betsy was that she had a really weird period.
Okay. Does she have pyometra?
No. It's only that you couldn't really rely on that. I mean, all the other females, you can see when they're going into heat, because the vagina gets a little bit bigger, they lose a little bit of blood. So you just separate them for about 15 days, 20 if you want to be safe, and then you're pretty good. You're golden. They're not fertile anymore. So we did the same with Betsy. And we separated him from his son for about 20 days. So say, okay, now it's okay. And she got pregnant. So we say, okay, hold on a second, that's not good. Yeah. So a funny thing happened in my family. We had the discussion. So you either spayed Betsy or you cut the balls to Max. Yeah. And that's exactly how my wife put it. We cut the balls to say, no, hold on a second, we can't do that. Okay, so we decided we went to the vet. Say, okay, we have the vet decide, because you want to cut the balls to Max. I'd rather not. So we went to the vet.
That's such a male thing to say. I want you to know.
Yeah, I don't know, but we went to the vet, and she's a lovely lady, really young doctor, really good, and we explained to her the stuff, and she said, that's verbatim. She said, well, if it were for me, I cut the balls to Max because I'm a female, and I was like, what the all dog. But then she said, but if you want my professional advice, it's better if you spayed Betsy, because eventually she might have problem with the ovaries and stuff like that. So at the end of it, you might end spading her anyway. So better if you do with her. Yeah. So basically, Max is still licking his balls, and Betsy, she's spaded. Yeah.
And everybody's happy.
Yeah. Yeah, Betsy not so much, because she suffered a little bit from that. Yeah. She had some problems with the thyroid, so she becomes getting fat. She had that problem. She began to lose the fur, so now we just give them some It's called Levanta, but I don't know. They're basically not hormones. Yeah, but they're hormones, you know. So they, you know, now she's okay. But you know, that's the honest.
You said you have kids and you have dogs. Are your kids dog people, or have they revolted and said, no, I'm not getting any dogs?
No. They're absolutely dog people. Ever since they were little, one is feeding them in the afternoon, and the other one is feeding them in the evening.
Okay.
And they go outside, they play together. No. It's
good.
That's
mine are too, but I know some children that are raised around animals. And their family has been big animal people. They go, no, thank you, I'm not doing that. You people are crazy.
No. Luckily enough, that's not a problem.
So what have you learned over the years? What are some of the big lessons, and do you have any advice for anyone interested in a shepherd?
They're really part of the family for me, so there isn't really a lesson. I find the shepherds, the German shepherds, to be quite interesting as a breed. Mostly because they're not the best at anything, really. They're not the best guard dogs. They're not the best, retrieval dogs. They're not the best, in the family. They're not the best at anything, but they're the second best at everything, So they're really, it's a good all-around dog. Yeah. They're smart. They're intuitive. They're patient. I mean, they can play with you, but they can sit with you. If you're tired, they're really good. And my biggest, actually, I got two advices. If you want to take one and you've never had one, go for a female. They're way better than a male. Way better. They're more. They have a stronger feeling. They're more territorial, so they will defend the garden or your property way better than a male. They're more calm. They will recognize someone in your family as the leader. So in my opinion, they are better. But if you really can, have more than one dog, because you will see the difference. They get more balanced. They live together. They do things together. When you go away outside and you go back, it's not there, waiting for you like the hair is missing. They're really, it's really way better. So
have a pack.
Yes, have a pack. Yeah, they're pack animals. And so
they are, and I think we'll always have more than one as well, just because of that. Yeah. They fare much better. So do you have a favorite story that stands out to you?
Well, I mean, I've got a lot of stories. There is one.
It's very entertaining, by the way.
The first female Ira, I had a couple of stories with her, for no reason at all, and we never understood why. She couldn't stand uniforms, and especially she couldn't stand trousers with a stripe on the side. Having said that, you've got to know that the uniform for our policemen and carabinieri, they always have trousers with a stripe on the side. So every time she saw a policeman, she starts barking at them. I was going out with the leash, and she starts barking at them. And it always looked at me bad. I was, I don't know. Shut up. I went away and said, good dog, right on. Yeah. So that was, and another thing with Ira, she was really funny, actually. Another thing with Ira, she was really, she was a really calm dog. I think she was the less, vital, the less, of all the dogs that they had. So there was that time that I was I was having a walk, so I sat down on a bench, and I was reading the paper, and the dog was sitting next to me. So there is this guy comes, and he sits at the bench, and I know exactly how it goes, and I'm reading the paper, okay, and I knew what was going on. So he sits there. I say, "Oh, what a nice dog." I say, "Yeah, it's a nice dog. Yeah." And then I know. Next question. What's her name? Okay. I say, well, his name is Ira. So, oh, Ira, that's really funny name. You know, why is that? Now, Ira in Italian means rage. Okay. And Ira is also, as you know, the acronym which the Irish Republican Army had. You know. So she went on. Oh, is she good? Yeah. Oh, is it a male or a female? So it's a female. Oh, is she a good dog? Yeah. What's her name? Ira. Oh, Ira. Oh, that's a fine name. Say, yeah. We had to call Ira because she's like, you know, the Irish terrorist. I mean, she's sitting there, and for no particular reason, like they did, they just put a bomb and everything explodes. And she's just like that. She's really calm, but she might start, you know, biting everybody. And he just stands up and he walked away. So yeah, I'm reading the paper. Come on, give me a break. So yeah.
Okay, that's funny.
Yeah.
That poor guy. You've harmed him forever.
I was reading the damn paper, you know. Come on.
Well, Fabio, it has been awesome talking to you. Thank you for being with us on TheSocialPet.net today.
You're welcome. It's been a pleasure.
And thank you to the audience for listening and watching, and we'll catch you next time.
Bye. See you next time only on TheSocialPet.net.